Hi. So I want to go over kind of the expectations for task number 4 really quickly. In class on Tuesday, the January 26th, we started working through this task. The students have the link to the task on Echo, and on Echo, they will also notice that there are two different turn in slots for this task. One says guided notes only. What you turn in for the guided notes only is what you complete on slide 2. Doesn't look like much. However, on slide 2, there is a document you need to open and make a copy of, excuse me. That document, when you open it, you'll notice there's a bunch of blanks. The student's job on this document is then to use this video to help fill in the blanks on the guided notes. The video, along with the guided notes, gives very important information that is going to make math a lot easier the rest of this unit. So it's super important you do that. Once you have finished the video and the notes, you go back to Echo and you submit those in the Hunted Task number 4 guided notes link on Echo. Once those are submitted, then you come back to this assignment and you finish slides 3 through 9. Now, for slides 3 through 9, here's what we learned in class yesterday. On slide 3, it asks you two questions. What does it mean to square a number, and what does it mean to take the square root of a number? Well, in the video, they talk about how when you square a number, what you're really doing is you're multiplying. So let me write this the way a high school student would write it. To square a number means to multiply a number by itself. So if we were squaring the number 3, to square it means to do 3 times 3. Doesn't mean times 2, doesn't mean times 4. But we also learned, and what we've been using, how we've been using this is in class in tasks 2, when we squared a number, we actually physically drew the square. So what we did was we took a side length and gave the area of a square. Okay, let me rewrite that in a better way. I think I said it better in class. So to give the area of a square when you have the side length. So if we said in class, this square has a side length of 9 units, we knew that to draw the square, it would be 9 units across the bottom, 9 units up the side, and we would be able to find the area by doing 9 times 9. So that's where the origination of squaring a number comes from. It's actually the image of a physical square. Now, square root, as you learned in the video, is the inverse operation of squaring a number. Just like addition is inverse of multiplication and division is inverse of multiplication, well, square root is the inverse operation for squaring a number. This one's a little more difficult to describe. So here's the mathematical kind of thinking about what you're doing when you're taking the square root of a number. To take the square root of a number means you're finding out what number that when multiplied by itself will give you the number under the radical symbol. Ironically, this symbol you see right here, that is the icon for typing math, this is the square root symbol. This is what's called a radical. You learned that in the video. Now, how we've been using this, we've been doing square root in our class since Friday. It's been worded a little bit differently. The way it's been worded up until now is we've been asking, how do you find the side length of a square if the area of the square is this? So if the area of the square is 100, the side length would have to be 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. The fancy way, the math way of asking that same question is, what's the square root of 100? It's not dividing. Notice I did not use division in my explanation. Dividing implies for most students, and where they get confused because they're thinking a square, they either divide it by 2 or they divide it by 4 because a square has 4 sides. Square root, don't think about it as division, think about it as multiplication and what times itself. So this is the answer you should have on task on slide 3. On slide 4, we went over these in class. You can use the sketch pad. These are areas. So if you need to, draw these squares and then give the areas of each, or give the side lengths of each in this box. We went over slide 5 in class as well. This question looks really hard. However, it's asking a very simple question. What is the square root of each of these numbers? We found out that it's the exact same answers as are on slide 4. Because it's asking the same question, it's just wording it very differently. Now, when you get to this slide, in class, I had students, let me see if I can get this to show up all the way. I had students highlight some important things. Side squared equals area, and the square root of the area equals the side length. These two circles will help you get these answers. If you look at letter A, what you have to do for these 6 problems is find the value of x. We don't know what x is, but x is under the radical, and we know that the square root of x equals 12. Well, look down here at these 2 circles. This top one doesn't have that radical symbol, but the bottom one does. If I compare what I see here with this idea here, the word area would go where the x is because it's under the radical. So what I'm actually trying to find is the area if the side length is 12. So what is the area of a square if the side length is 12? Well, if I know the side, I know that 12 times 12 gives me area. That way, or that means I can do 12 times 12, and it tells me that x equals 144. Same thing with B. It looks exactly the same. Again, underneath the radical is the word area, which means I have 2.5 as a side length. So I'm going to do 2.5 times 2.5. That's a 4. No. That leaves me with x equals, you can figure the rest of it out. Pretty sure it's 6.25. Now, when you get to C, notice C looks a lot like this top circle. The x has the exponent of 2, which means that our x this time is a side length. That means this 121 is the area. So now, what number times itself gives me 121? Secret shortcut. If you go to the Desmos calculator, let me see if I can remember how to switch. Nope. Well, if you go to the Desmos calculator, type in that square root symbol, because all you're really going to be doing, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Just kidding. All you're going to be doing is taking the square root of 121, and you'll find out that it's 11, because 11 times 11 is 121. So you're going to do the same thing for these last 3 problems. When you get to slide 7, we have already done this square. We found that this square on task number 2 had an area of 2 square units. It had 2 square units because when we divided it up, we had 4 halves. We decided that each of these little triangles was half of a square, and 4 halves equals 2. So now we have to guess the side length. Well, most people said 1. 1's not quite right, because 1 times 1 is 1. And if I actually measure this, or if I take this and slide it up, you're going to have here. So a reasonable guess might be between 1 and 2 units. Because if I take this and I swing it up, it's going to be in between the first and second over here. Now use the Desmos calculator to give the length. You're going to actually go into Desmos and you're going to give the square root of 2. Wish I could get my Desmos calculator to show on this screen, but it's not working. But the square root of 2 is going to give you a decimal that starts with 1.4121. And then it goes on to say 3562. So this is the exact answer. Okay. So now you're actually going to go to Desmos again. Find the square root of 5. Tell me what two whole numbers is it in between. Is it in between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6? And then tell me which number it's closer to. On slide 9, all you're doing is going back and forth between area and side length. We've already found the areas of all of these campsites. If you go back to task 2 and you've forgotten if the side was 1, go back and look at what we found the area was. Now, for the rest of these, you're not going to get a whole number side length. You're going to estimate. So for this one, I want to show you how to write that answer. Click in the box. You're going to hit the square root button. You're going to do the square root of 2. Okay? Then you're going to use your over key to get out. And then you're going to put the word or, and then you're going to actually give the exact area or the exact side square root of 2 answer, the whole decimal. So the whole decimal was 1.414213, 1.414213,562. Okay, so you're going to do that for all of these. Again, take the square root symbol. So this one would be square root of 5. Move your over. Notice when I hit the over button, I don't have my square root going all the way. Then find the exact answer. Once you've got all of these finished, you're going to submit this in Echo. Make sure you get this done as soon as possible because on Thursday, the 28th, we're starting task 5, and knowing how to do all this is going to make life a lot easier. See you guys in class. Have a great day.